for like 30 seconds and realized that I'd forgot to click the start button. So here we are. Good morning. It is Coffee Talk on Halloween. Spooky, spooky Halloween on a Thursday morning, October the 31st. Rise and shine, rise and shine. And good morning. We do Coffee Talk 7 days a week, just about at 8 o'clock. Just about. Though, like, I think tomorrow I'm going to have to do it a little early. Chaos and scheduling. I know you are okay with it, and I appreciate your flexibility. So anyway, we do it at 8 o'clock. I'd say like 95% of the time. But here we are. All right. Good morning. Beautiful. It's not a dark and stormy morning. A little haze. It gives it a little bit of a spooky start. This is looking over to Disney Springs. Not a bad start to the day there. Let's look to downtown Orlando. Oh, spooky. Is it? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. That's okay. Good morning. Traffic doing its thing. It's a lovely morning. It's a lovely morning. I hope you're having a great start today. I hope you're ready for the trick-or-treaters to come on in later today. First warning, live Doppler radar popping up quiet. So we've got some clouds. There's the Melbourne radar, the Tampa. Just making sure ours wasn't fakakta in any way. Is there a sprinkle? I mean, I guess there's like a sprinkle. A couple teeny tiny sprinkles. Maybe a sprinkle. So light, like a mist. All right, live look at temperatures. Just saw them update too. Every 5 minutes, we get new temperature data. 69 in Orlando, 75 Daytona Beach, 76 in Titusville, 68 in Leesburg. It is a lovely, lovely start to the day. It's a spooky, scary day. You know what? I'm not going to use this one. We've got to use the one that's got the Halloween background. Spooky, scary Halloween. Boop, 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 boo. Couple of sprinkles here or there. Otherwise, it's beautiful. 79, 11 o'clock. 82 by 1 p.m. 84 degrees. Our 3 o'clock temperature. So it's going to be a perfect day for outdoor plans. Wearing the costume, you're going to be looking good. Trick or treat forecast tonight. It's not going to be chilly, but it's not going to be too bad at all. Looks pretty nice, you ask me. Temperatures dropping into the upper 70s. Sun sets at 6:41, so I fully suspect I'll be out and about probably 6:45, 7 o'clock. We'll go till 8. Shower the reluctant kids. Calm them down. Yeah, it's going to be a really great forecast for tonight. Maybe a sprinkle. Maybe. Yeah, it's going to be a great forecast. So we're looking good, friends. And not only are we looking good today, tomorrow's Friday. So, of course, we've got to start thinking about weekend events. We've got, for example, the big HSR rates over Daytona. Temperatures kind of hanging out in the 80s. If you're looking for events, Greek Fest over at the Holy Trinity Church in Maitland this weekend. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s. Looks like a great forecast. Okay, lots and lots of different events. Of course, we've got some college football, space game out at UCF, Arizona coming to town. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s. Not bad. FSU. Both UCF and FSU not having the greatest schedules. And then of course there's the Gators for the isn't this the world's largest cocktail party? Isn't this one in Jacksonville on Saturday? Looks great there. May see a quick shower. Um, Debbie says I have a vendor market at One Daytona on Saturday. Apparently, lots for kids happening there. That's good to know. I like that. In the villages, golly, lots and lots of events. The Villages Arts and Crafts Festival. We've got Orlando Pride on Saturday. Seattle Rain coming to town. There's the Fall Fiesta in the park. I mean, I could keep going. Just a lot going on this weekend. The Mount Dora Plant and Garden Fair, yeah, a lot. So whatever our plans are, I'm happy to report that overall this weekend's forecast is looking very, very nice. Temperatures hanging out in the mid 80s. There will be a few showers. It's not going to be perfectly clear. A few showers here or there. Otherwise, we're looking good. Yeah. So that's where we're at. All right, let's pop up the 7-day forecast. get our situational awareness set up, and then we're going to start to talk a little bit about the tropics. Today beautiful, tomorrow beautiful, this weekend, yeah, a couple of sprinkles here or there. Otherwise, we're really looking great. Okay? So that's kind of where we're at. Don't forget, whether it's early voting or regular voting, let's make sure to vote. Let's make sure to vote. And for those of you that may be new to Coffee Talk, we don't talk politics here. I don't really care what side of an aisle you are, what color you are, who you're voting for. I really don't care. And nobody in here cares either. Just go do the things, okay? Just go vote. That's all. I don't care who you vote for. Literally, don't tell me. I don't want to hear. But go do it. Okay? Mike says voting today. I'm going to try and do that myself today before I go to work after Coffee Talk. Patty says the pool was lovely last night. My pool was too. I've got the heat on. Part of what I need to do with these kids is tire them the heck out. Today I don't suspect I'll be in the pool, but this weekend we'll try to. The ghosted woman. I voted yesterday. Didn't want to stand in a long line. I don't either. Yeah. All right. So one thing you'll notice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those temperatures are coming up just a little bit. It's going to get warm out there. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, if we look at the raw GFS for temperatures, the 13th, 14th, 15th, like maybe the temperatures are going to drop off just a little bit, but we don't have, and again, I feel like the very, very end of the GFS is always a disaster. So just ignore that November 16th. But you do notice that we've got a decent stretch of warm temperatures. So yeah, Lucas is asking, any cold fronts showing up on the models? Not really. Not really. Yeah, City says those temps are going in the wrong direction. I know. Well, what are you going to do? So anyway, yeah, getting a little warm. This time of year, we'll figure it all out, right? We'll figure it all out. Mother Nature will put us right back where we should be eventually. So anyway, all right. All right. So that's local. Questions, comments, concerns about local. Otherwise, we can move on to the tropics and see what's going on. All right. I'll give you a few seconds for your questions, for your comments, for your concerns. Frank says cold fronts need to be here to protect us. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the tropics. Where should I start? All right. So here's a look at the satellite imagery right now. And a couple of things. There's an area of moisture around Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Heavily sheared environment, not a big concern there. Around Panama in Central America, there's some bubbling of convection, but nothing there expected to get going. That said, though, over the next few days, models have been consistent trying to talk about formation. And thus, we need to watch the Caribbean for possible development over the next week or so time. A broad area of low pressure is expected to develop, and from there, where does it try to spin something up? We'll look at the models here. But essentially, this weekend, next week, we're going to need to watch. Nothing in the short term. Notice the next 2 days' time, development chance is sitting 0. Not a big worry. But over the next 7 days' time, that development chance has come up just a little bit, now at a 50% likelihood of formation, okay? So yeah, going to have to watch the tropics. Now, here's, before we get too deep, here's the setup. Right now, and as is typical during the month of November, we have high pressure protecting the state of Florida. Cold fronts come through. That's what takes care of us. The concern here is that as high pressure starts to shift thanks to cold fronts in early November, that opens up a pathway where we could be threatened, we'll say. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just kind of letting you know that's why we have to watch the tropics, because this pattern is not perfect for protecting us. Okay. So before we go into the models, let's just really talk about where we're at. All right. Nothing has formed, even though there is moisture that is bubbling. We'll go back to the Caribbean here for a second. Hold on. Let me just put this. I'm going to put this here for a minute so I can annotate. All right. So even though there is moisture that's bubbling up down here in the Caribbean, okay, even though there's already stuff there, understand this is not yet forming into an area that the models are really wanting to develop, right? So to that point, yes, there's something there, but it is not formed. So we need to continue to watch because the models are staying with this idea that something's going to try to form, okay? But with each model run, until there's actually something there, the models are going to flip flop and try. We don't really know what's going to happen. We don't really know what's happening. Once that low actually develops, we will have a much clearer idea of what could get going in the tropics. Okay. But again, for right now, you've got broad moisture. This is not lowering pressure yet. And this is like a heavily sheared thing, so that's not a big worry. Okay? Okay, so let's start discussing the tropics with the models. All right, this is the raw GFS, and I start with the raw GFS just because it's the first one. It's the one that I just kind of start with. All right. Click that window. Here we go. All right. So watching the pressures lowering this weekend. And then it's trying to form a couple weird little lows. Fujiwara moving around South Florida and Cuba around the 7th. Area of low pressure out into the Gulf and then weakening. And then there's something else out east of it. It's still odd. With cold fronts, there's a lot of dynamics here. So to that point, like the current run of the GFS, we can watch it. It's trying to do something. Don't really know what's going to happen. Okay? That's the current run. Let's go back from the 6Z or 6 Zulu time run to the 0Z or 0 Zulu time run. Trying to form something, bringing it into the Gulf, and then perhaps stalling it near the panhandle. Different, still developing, but a different like trajectory. Again, these are deterministic single runs, so you can kind of just look for trends. Developing something, bringing it up toward Louisiana. So you see that it consistently is developing something this weekend into early next week, and then moving it toward the Gulf into next week. That's the GFS. Let's look at the European. Again, the 6 Zulu time run only goes out 90 hours. So you don't get a chance to see much of it, right? That's the European. Doesn't really do a ton. Canadian model. The gem, developing an area of low pressure. The Canadian's definitely the stronger of all the models, okay? Bringing it to the Yucatan, and then there's another system out east of us. Like, what are you doing? That's the Canadian. Let's look at the icon. Developing something. That's the 6Z. We go out to the 0Z that goes further out, and it's basically got like a little hurricane out there in the Gulf. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. Let's look at the ensembles. For those of you that are new, ensembles are basically you take the GFS, you take the Euro, you take all the deterministic models, and then you stop after they're run and you rerun them. And the idea is you overthink it. And what you get is, on the GFS's case, 30 different ensemble members. Okay. So essentially, you get this 30 different versions of the GFS. And each one you can see is a little different. Some are developing a hurricane, some are not developing. I don't like to look at it like that on a broad stroke. I like to bring it in and look at it all on top of each other. And you can, you can start to get some contours on low pressure. Like you can see here, this is, let's just back it up. So right here, Friday, that's tomorrow morning at coffee talk time, no low pressure. Notice though, some members by Friday night, here's Saturday coffee talk time. Some ensemble members are developing areas of weak low pressure. And then notice into the weekend, we're starting to see more and more. And I usually switch the model view to more of a member-wise minimum, just to kind of show it. But you see a lot of probably half the ensemble members take something into the Gulf. Maybe the other half, weaker half, keep it out east of us. And then from there, it's just where does it go once it makes it to the Gulf. So that's the GFS ensemble. Again, understand it's too early to look at paths. But what we can do is we can get an idea of trends. And watching ensembles, you can get an idea of like 50 different model trends. Here's the European ensemble. 6Z only goes out 144 hours, so that's as far as the 6Z goes out, but we can go to the 0Z, which goes out further. And so interesting. So it basically tries to bring something here, and then it's like, blah, don't have a clue. So it's got this initial westward trek through about Thursday, November 7th, and then afterward, it's like, I have no idea. And so it just spreads it out. So to this point in time, models are showing development. They have no idea from then where it's going to go. And so important to note that when looking at the tropics, I still think we are exactly where we've been for a week. Models are trying to develop something in the Caribbean. Outside of that, no idea. All right. Because the model keeps pushing it further and further and further out, we haven't gotten any clarity yet. So at this point in time, the models have no idea. And anybody online, those fake meteorologists instead of meteorologists that tell you, it's going to come here, it's going to go there, they have no idea. The details, remember, the devil's in the details, and we don't have that. So keep that in mind. Marie, what intensity a big storm possible? No idea. The devil's in the details, and we don't have the details. Okay? We don't. We are seeing trends, and trends are that something is going to want to try to develop, but outside of that, we don't know. Terry says, so we sit and wait for something that may or may not happen. Correct. Why are you hyping it? I'm not. I'm talking about it. I want to make sure you know what's out there. But do not confuse covering and discussing with hype. Hype would be, it's going to hit, it's going to be a category 17, red alerts. No. So that's kind of where we're at. I wish I had more information to share with y'all. I really do. And I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish it could. Sorry. So anyway, that's where we're at. Water temps the same? Yeah. So water temperatures, hold on. I'll dial that up for you. Let me take our live radar. Sea surface temperatures. I mean, it's still very warm in the Caribbean. But Jesus, is it really 90 degrees down there? Yeah, I mean, like it's cooled here, but it's still plenty warm down there. So when we look at like potential energy for tropical systems, I mean, it's clearly still everything you need. This is the potential energy product. It's there in the Caribbean. So yeah, we can develop something down there. And I'm not saying that we will, but there's definitely the parameters possible to get something going. If it were to become a name system, Patty is the next name. So for situational awareness, okay. So the big, for me, the reason that I really want to watch is just because if it times out in such a way that it's further west and this area of high pressure starts to shift, there's a pathway into the Gulf, and depending on where a cold front would be, it could, it just could be not great. And I don't want to deal with any of this garbage. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns. Open floor. The floor is yours. Beverly says, "Wow, my head is spinning." Why? Why is your head spinning? Skylar just showed it. Temperatures are in the 80s, so definitely still good to go for tropical formation. Wouldn't it break apart from cooler waters? Just showed water temperatures in the Caribbean are 90. So yeah, it's not going to break apart down there. Still plenty of heat energy available. Yeah. Um, Maurice, can we see what comes after it on the BSR? Of course. Okay. So here's the BSR. Stop. All right. So for those of you that have been with us for a little while, we know that the BSR is kind of a teleconnection thing. And first off, just to share, like the BSR looks great, and then there's something. The BSR has a signal for something from the Gulf around Florida. Hmm, around the 13th. So I can't promise that, around the 13th ish, 12, 13th ish, the BSR has a strong signal for something there. So after that, cold fronts start, and look at that. Like, that's a heck of a cold front. What is that? That's the 16th ish. Heck of a cold front coming through around the 16th, according to the BSR. All right. And then way down the line, if we want to go like super long range, just trying to key ideas in. And this is just this is just guessing. That could be a nice little storm setup there. That's November 18th. That's a cold front slash, honestly, that's a severe weather setup there. Around November 21st. That'll be interesting. Another cold front around the 24th. And then that's a cold front. Like the day, like right around Halloween. Uh, right around Thanksgiving. So if this plays out, we could be talking about a decent little cold front right around Thanksgiving, maybe the day before Thanksgiving. And then what are you? You better not. That's like December 1st, some sort of a Gulf storm system. It would not be tropical, but would that be like a Florester? Awesome. Around December 1st? Cool. We'll see if that happens. That's obviously way out. Okay. That would be interesting. So that's a peak. That's a peak way ahead. Zero confidence that far out, but it's at least something. Okay. Mike's asking about snow. Don't hold your breath, dude. All right. No flurries. I know. I know. All right. It could be the repeat of Milton. Wouldn't that stink? All right. Questions, comments, concerns. We've gone through a lot. Things that make you go, Melanie says. I know. Was I in the alumni band last Saturday? No, this year we didn't do it. Should have. We'll do it next year. Debbie's asking about costumes. I'm wearing a Mario Kart shirt. Eric is a Piranha Plant. Alexander's Yoshi. Jeannie is, I think, Princess Peach. Yeah, we're not going crazy this year. What's your thinking? I try not to. What, like long range stuff? Watching and waiting. Just kind of interesting speed bumps to look at. Yeah. All right. Tiffany says, cruise to the Bahamas out of Miami on the 22nd of November. Hopefully it's beautiful. I mean, let's hope. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that would stink. You've got some splaining to do. Well, let's just watch and see. That's all. That's all. Rich, let's just watch and see. We don't need to worry about anything. The problem with looking long range is that you all could get worrisome. Don't. Just let's watch and track. That's all. Okay? That's all. Interesting but not stressed. Patty said it, and I think that that's the best way to look at it. All right. Anything else? All right, I guess I'm going to go try and vote before work today. Okay? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all for hanging out for coffee talk. Take care. All right? Sound good? Sound good. I'll post a little quick one of those short videos. I'll post one of those short videos later today to update models and all that fun stuff. Okay? Anything else? Mike says make the right choice. That's what we're always trying to do. My eyes. All right, last look. Trick or treat forecast looking great for the young ghosts and goblins. Looking great. Little mild. Don't put a leather jacket on and be Arthur Fonzarelli like I was as a kid. You'll be fine. All right? All right, be good you all. Take